But we begin with the war between Russia and Ukraine. Moscow is accusing Kyiv of attacking a fuel depot in Belgorod.
It's the first report of a Ukrainian airstrike on Russian soil. Russian officials claim Ukrainian choppers crossed the border and fired on the facility. Ukraine's foreign minister isn't confirming or denying the reports. The Kremlin said the incident could jeopardize peace talks.
Russian forces have reportedly given control of Chernobyl back to Ukraine. The defunct power plant is the site of the world's worst nuclear disaster. It was taken by Russian forces in late February. Plant workers claim soldiers suffered radiation poisoning after digging trenches in the exclusion zone around the reactor. Meanwhile, efforts are once again underway to evacuate civilians from the besieged city of Mariupol. But Ukrainian officials warn they still need guarantees for an evacuation corridor. The Red Cross sent buses to help people on Thursday, but say Russian forces blocked crucial supplies from getting into the city and refugees from getting out. Mariupol has seen some of the worst devastation since Russia began its invasion.
CBS News foreign correspondent Holly Williams joins us with more from Kryvyi Rih, Ukraine. Holly, thank you for joining us. What else can you tell us about this airstrike in Russia, and how could this escalate the battle between the two nations?
Well, a U.S. official has now confirmed to CBS News that Ukrainian helicopters did attack that oil depot in the Russian city of Belgorod. Belgorod is just on the other side of the border. Ukraine has refused to confirm or deny that it was involved in this attack, but it is highly significant because just over a month into Russia's invasion of Ukraine, this is a Ukrainian air attack, according to U.S. officials, on Russian soil, and the fear is that it could lead to some kind of an escalation. In fact, U.S. officials are apparently concerned by what Russia's reaction may turn out to be.
A lot of people wondering what the next step might be there. But Holly, as we mentioned earlier, there are reports Russia has handed control of Chernobyl back to Ukraine. Do we know more about why Russian forces left? And is this being seen as a sign Moscow is wavering, or perhaps this is part of the promise to pull back troops?
Well, Ukrainian officials have confirmed that Russian troops have withdrawn from the Chernobyl nuclear site. But the officials also say that those Russian soldiers received significant doses of radiation while they were there because they dug trenches in the exclusion zone around the closed plant. This withdrawal seems to be part of a sort of general pattern around Kyiv and to the north of Kyiv, where we're seeing Russian forces withdraw in some places, and in other areas Ukrainian forces claw back territory. Russia has said that it is now switching its focus to the east, to eastern Ukraine, and the suspicion there held both in Ukraine and outside of Ukraine is that that's because the Russians have run into a much tougher Ukrainian resistance than many people expected, and the Russians have been suffering heavy losses, including between 7,000 and 15,000 Russian troops killed, according to a NATO official.
Holly, what's the latest on evacuating civilians from Mariupol?
So we've seen video of what seems to be this convoy of buses carrying, we understand, around 2,000 people out of Mariupol. They are apparently heading towards the city of Zaporizhia, which is still under the control of Ukrainian forces. We don't know at this point whether or not those people have actually managed to make it to Zaporizhia. Mariupol, of course, is perhaps the worst hit city during this entire invasion. The United Nations says that it believes thousands of people may have died in Mariupol. It's been besieged and bombarded by Russian forces. Ukrainian officials put the death toll at around 5,000, including more than 200 children. And they say that 40% of buildings in the city have been completely destroyed. Although these 2,000 people have apparently either made it out or are on their way out, we understand that more than 100,000 people are still trapped inside Mariupol.
Oh, my goodness. Holly Williams in Ukraine, thank you so much for joining us.